Great man, lovely to see you.
Great to see you again, Paul. So much to get through today. Welcome to the chaotic world that is broken Britain.
Always pleased. Just a visit occasion. It's a visit at the moment for us rather than immigration, but we'll see. Now, obviously, the next 24 hours is going to be extraordinary, right? Because obviously, the remaining living hostages, sadly, those that have died, all of them come home tomorrow. Trump is apparently going to be in Israel for this moment. The cheers have been incredible. The relief, of course, amongst the normal Palestinian community in Gaza has been incredible to see as they return home. I just keep thinking all of the variables are so fragile here, but the closer we get to the deadline, the closer we get to some good news, mate.
Well, that's right. That deadline, of course, 8 p.m. On Monday, Sydney time, Australia. And it's a moment of such celebration. It's a political triumph, Paul, for Donald Trump. I've got a bit of a catchphrase on my Talk TV show, which is the bad orange man strikes again. You know, this is a man that's recalibrated international trade and improved the terms by which America trades with the world. He's closed the southern border. He's ended wokery in America's public institutions, and he looks to have brokered peace in the Middle East. And what's amazing is that his envoy is actually the real hero here. This is Steve Witkoff. And it's interesting, Paul, this man is not a diplomat. He's not a politician. He's a real estate mogul. And yet he's the guy that's achieved the unachievable.
Yeah, I mean, what I find fascinating here about the tenor of the deal, right, is that obviously Qatar is such a key part of this, right? And we had the scenario of the leaders that have been, sitting very pretty in the Hamas leaders sitting very pretty in Qatar for a long time. There was the Israeli strike, which took out some of that leadership. Israel had to apologise for it, obviously at the behest of what the Americans were saying, because Qatar was really in a position where they were either able to turn the tap on and off or be able to put the pressure on. That seems to have been part of the X factor in these negotiations. And whenever the book is written of it, I think that's going to be a big part of it. But that has been the skill of how Trump has come at this, that there is no one who's not allowed at the table to get the result.
Most definitely. And Trump's been very firm with Hamas. He's been equally firm with Israel. And when he hasn't been happy with his major Middle Eastern ally, he has said so. Very similarly, we've seen that situation in Ukraine where he attempted to love bomb Vladimir Putin, applauding him as he stepped off the jet for that summit in Alaska. But given the fact that Putin doesn't seem to have much of an appetite for peace, suddenly he's telling Volodymyr Zelensky, actually, you can take back Ukraine and take some of Russia as well. So, all Trump wants to do, Paul, is get that deal across the line. And it's a demonstration that quite clearly Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. He has immeasurably made the world safer since his election in November of last year. And it puts paid to the idea of the bad orange man. He's actually demonstrated political acumen. And as you mentioned in this deal making, significant diplomatic skill as well.
Yeah, well, look, second time around, this version of Trump knows the levers of power, knows the limits, knows perhaps sometimes over the limits. But the point is, he's all in, right? Like every hand is all in, and he's got incredible results to this point. Now, let's talk about our friend Nigel Farage. Now, obviously, flying high in the polls right now, but God forbid anyone actually comes out and offers any sort of public support here. Tell me about what is happening in and around some local people who say that this bloke is not the devil.
Yeah, that's right. You won't believe this. So in a since edited post on Facebook, Basildon Labour Party have described the political opinions of a school head teacher as a serious and legitimate safeguarding concern. Well, this head teacher, whose name is Lorraine Ramett, who's a very admired figure in the community, doing a brilliant job in her school, she dares to be a Reform UK supporter. And yet the Labour Party, which is, of course, the governing party of the United Kingdom, consider her support for reform to be a legitimate safeguarding concern. What that means, Paul, is they consider democracy to be a serious and legitimate safeguarding concern. Your politics should never impact your ability to do your job. And I think what's happened here is the mask has slipped. What's hilarious is that just a couple of hours later, after the backlash, they swiftly changed the post in order to suggest, oh no, this was about a traffic enforcement scheme.
Oh,
Sorry, we see you. You know, the mask has slipped. It's the intolerance of the woke left, I'm afraid, Paul.
Well, but also, you know, one of the worst legacies of wokedom, right, is the broadening of definitions and the lowering of bars to qualify for them, right? Again, when you talk about significant safety, these very malleable terms, this sort of bureaucracies that is in there where, you know, technically anything sort of falls into this area. And then we sort of move to kind of like a inquisitorial legal system where you have to disprove the suggestion as opposed to the other way around. And the problem is that when so much of our life is under regulation, not legislation, and the organisation who there's bugger all people to go and appeal to, unless you want to go and, you know, empty your bank account and head off to a court. This is what sort of suffocates people, isn't it?
Well, it is. And you're so right to talk about the language of it, because the language has been butchered so that, you know, woke progressives can control our lives in a very subtle way. And, you know, you mentioned there this idea of safeguarding, and we've heard, you know, people talk about safe spaces at university. You've also got hate speech. You've got misinformation. All of this language is being leveraged against us. And in this case, it's a threat to our democracy, because if a head teacher can't support Reform UK, whose main ideas are that taxes are too high and that we should have a border that is actually correctly policed, yeah, this is not far right. This is not Adolf Hitler 2.0. But in the twisted mind of the UK Labour government, it is.
A sunny, balmy 12 degrees is what you are in for your Sunday afternoon, Mark. All the best to you. We look forward to following you in all of the socials and, of course, seeing you on Talk TV as well, mate. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week.